Hey, it's Steve Shannon, just about ready to put together another perfect playlist. You know you all have one for the gym, you know, for doing yard work, for when you go to bed at night. So each week, we're gonna build a perfect playlist under a different theme. So let's go ahead and get started and meet this week's guest on the perfect playlist. But we'll talk about music and baseball. Those are good things. All right. So my good friend and co-worker, author, disc jockey, digital media guru, all of it, Rob Carroll, joins us for this edition of the Perfect Playlist. Let me cover the author thing first, because I think it sort of validates why he's a perfect co-host with me today. He's written a couple of books. His latest is called Cubs 100, A Century at Wrigley. You're a diehard, lifelong Cubs fan.
That's, you know, it's a sickness that I've come down with that I have not found the cure. But I used to say, when I talk to people about being a Cubs fan, I'd say, it's a sickness, and they let you down every year, and you just keep coming back, you don't have no cure for the sickness. But last year after they won, I can't say that anymore. So, like, now I'm a fan of a World Series champion.
It's not, no, you're not complaining about having to say that now.
No, not at all.
It's a great book. As a matter of fact, too, there'll be a link included here so you can pick up a copy yourself, filled with pictures and great stories. So our perfect playlist are today baseball songs. And it was really kind of hard to not be cliche with these.
Sure.
But I do have one on my list.
I've got one that's kind of cliche, but I think we're going to be all right. These are definitely, I went with songs that make me think about baseball.
And you know what? I sort of applied the same thought. Okay. So good, but except for the one cliche. So. All right, you first, Rob.
All right, so number one, this is in no particular order. The first one I'm going to bring up is the Troggs' Wild Thing. I'm a big fan of the movie Major League. It's one of my favorite movies.
Yes.
The main character, Ricky Wild Thing Vaughn, that's a song that plays when he comes out. I was also a big fan of Mitch Williams, the reliever. Used to be the closer for the Cubs, who also went by Wild Thing.
Okay.
So that is definitely a song that makes me think of baseball.
Cool.
And baseball movies.
Mine makes me think of baseball. My first one. It is not a baseball movie, but is a very quintessential scene in probably one of my favorite movies of all time. I grew up in the 80s, and the movie was Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Sure.
There is a scene where Jennifer Jason Leigh's character loses her virginity.
I know exactly the scene you're talking about.
In a baseball dugout. And the song playing was Jackson Brown's Somebody's Baby.
Yep.
And that, I don't know why, all those things worked together, and it was the first song, too, that came to my mind for this list.
It's a whole different kind of scoring, apparently.
Ta-da!
Hey. Yes. My next one on my list, it's a little bit of a stretch, and but it is by a merengue artist called Omega El Fuerte. The song is Ando en la Versace.
Okay.
And it was, the reason why that song makes me think about baseball so much is 2015, when the Cubs were in the playoffs, they had Starlin Castro. And when Starlin Castro would come up to bat, they would play this song all the time.
Okay.
And the whole entire stadium would just clap along with it. It's got that nice Latin beat that everyone just claps along. Players in the dugout, they clap along with it. So it's one that just gets you going. Check it out. It's definitely one. You'll clap along with it, I promise.
My next one is a walk-up song, too. I couldn't remember the name of the player. He was a pitcher. His name was Jason Hamill.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a song whose lead singer is one of probably the biggest celebrity Cubs fans there is. It would be Alive by Pearl Jam.
Oh, very nice.
And for me, that's one of my favorite Pearl Jam songs already. That first album, I mean, they've been good since, but to me, in my opinion, Pearl Jam has never been as good as that first album.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
All right.
We're going to talk about Pearl Jam in a little bit.
Okay.
Third on my list is, this has nothing to do with professional baseball whatsoever. But it's just a memory of baseball I have from when I was younger.
Okay.
It is actually from the punk band The Germs. The song is called Lexicon Devil. And the reason why it's special to me is because when I was in high school, I was driving with half of the starting lineup of our baseball team in my car.
Okay.
And I may or may not have been racing someone at the time.
Statute of limitations is over. I think you're good.
Sorry, Mom.
Never with Mom.
I may have crashed my car at the time.
Oh.
And so going about 55, 60 miles an hour, I ran into a ditch with half the baseball team in my car. And it was not fun. But I was driving a 79 Buick at the time, so it was like a tank, and it absorbed the impact a lot. But anyway, we were listening to that album at the time in the car, and ironically, the lead singer of the band, his name's Darby Crash. So,
oh my gosh,
yeah.
That's a little eerie.
so like that album always makes me think about baseball in a very weird sense, because like we had a game that afternoon, and we were just running to go get something to drink at the Casey's in Varna, Illinois, and at the time, that's what happened. Wow. So I didn't play that day.
A little sore. You know, it's funny too, because my next song too is sort of a childhood memory. I was 11 years old. This was 1979. You know, I've been playing Little League Baseball since T-ball, and players that I sort of found myself enjoying watching, Reggie Jackson, of course. At the time, we almost had like similar hairstyles. Our glasses were shaped the same. But then there was this other team that was just killing it that year. And the first baseman and sometimes left fielder, Willie Stargell, was the one, too, that inspired me to learn how to throw left-handed as well as right-handed. I never learned how to bat both ways. But Willie Stargell was on the Pittsburgh Pirates. And their theme song that whole season was Sister Sledge's "We Are Family," and I can remember moments, and I'm getting goosebumps talking about it, because I was 11 years old, kind of becoming a better baseball player. And you know, when you're that age and you're a boy, you idolize these players, and Willie Stargell was everything to me then. So that's number 3 on my list.
That's a fine choice. I like that. Another one on my list is "Jump" from Van Halen. Thinking back to the 80s and listening to Cubs baseball and WGN, that's a song that would always come on right before Chicago Cubs baseball would be on the air.
Yeah.
So you hear the opening keyboard as soon as the song starts up. Still to this day, anytime I hear that, I think about Chicago Cubs baseball is now on the air. Like, I think about that all the time, and the players run out to the field. Like, as soon as I hear that opener, that's what I think of.
How many times a day, when the Cubs enter your mind, do you find hair standing up on your arm?
A little bit more since they won the World Series.
Wow. Okay, all right. So the next one on my list is, again, not a baseball song, inspired by a movie. I think, honestly, nobody plays characters in sports movies better than Kevin Costner.
I agree.
And this is probably not the movie you think I'm going to mention, but there's a scene in the movie where he first meets a woman that's one of the most beautiful women in show business. But he's driving his convertible rented Porsche. He's got his sunglasses on, and the song playing is "Reelin' in the Years" by Steely Dan, and he rolls up upon Kelly Preston, whose car is broken down, and that would be the movie For Love of the Game.
Sure.
There's something so special about that movie, and using Vin Scully to call the game. I mean, when the guy says in the movie that we can just push the sunshine back into the sky one more time for another day of baseball, I'm like, who could make calling a baseball game sound like you're reading the best book of poetry ever?
He can paint a picture like no other.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's "Reelin' in the Years" is number 4.
Final one I have on my list. You talk about Pearl Jam.
Okay.
This is a little cliche, but not very much. It would be cliche for me to say "Go Cubs Go" or "Take Me Out to the Ball Game." I think the song that really encapsulates what all Cubs fans feel is Eddie Vedder's "All the Way." And
oh my gosh!
Because that is a song that when it came out, like. It was, you could just tell it was written from the heart of a Cubs fan who had waited forever to see them win. And I think that is what a lot of Cubs fans felt up until last year. And I think that all Cubs fans can identify with that feeling, unless they were born after November 2nd, 2016, when they won. then they're never going to know. Yeah. But I just think just the heart of that song and the feeling and the emotion behind it, you can tell it's real. Yeah. You can tell it's not just another song that people sing along with. It has true emotion in it, and it really encapsulates everything it means to be a Cubs fan.
My last song is about as cliche as a baseball song could be, but the reason is, being that you and I played baseball all through our younger years and into some of our adult years, maybe we transitioned to softball, you know, and then of course we were always been a fan. Even when our teams didn't play well or we got hurt playing, every baseball memory I have is a good one, and it makes me feel good. And this song also does too, and it would be Glory Days by Bruce Springsteen.
Very good one.
Because you don't have to just look back at baseball moments that make you feel good. It makes you look back at all kinds of moments in your life that felt great.
It does.
While you're not the guy in the bar who's got to boast about his glory days, it's fun to just reminisce about them on your own.
Sure.
Man, these are great. Seriously, this list I'm going to be playing over and over with baseball season just beginning. I'm going to be listening to this list over and over. Awesome. Thank you, Rob.
No problem. Thank you.
Again, don't forget 2 things real quick. It's Cubs 100, A Century at Wrigley. There's a picture of the book right there. You can pick that up. There's a link below. And all 10 of these songs, too. There's a link to enjoy these as often as you want on our YouTube channel, ZOKTV. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do that. We'll see you again next time on The Perfect Playlist.